contemporary and fellow Ireland recording artist in those days, yes?
This is true.
Did you know the man well?
I did, yes. Well, we lived very close to each other. He lived in one part of Hampstead and I lived just up the road. Very quiet lad. Extremely personable and charming when necessary.
Yeah.
Handsome to a devastating effect.
Yes, the pictures, quite stunning pictures. I mean, there's almost a touch of, oh dear me, I can't think of...
I feel like all that kind of stuff, yes.
The word I wasn't thinking of, but it was a very good way of describing it. Why do you think Nick Drake has become the legend that exists today?
I would imagine because of the quality of the music and his writing. It's just very good music. He was and it's very British, isn't it? I think, and that's one of the things I like about it. I think Dream Academy has quoted him as being one of their influences. Or at least
they dedicated their hit.
That's right.
To him, yeah.
To the memory of Nick, and I think it's because he's British. I mean, it's secret for me.
It does seem to have a perennial appeal because it's hitting new generations. People who are 15 years younger than Nick are now saying that this man is important.
Yes, well, it is. As I say, it's inevitably good. You can't really say that it's bad music, so therefore it has a certain strength.
What sort of man was he, though?
I don't know. When I first met him, he was rather more urbane than he became. He was always charming, delicately witty, but he just became more and more withdrawn as time went by. In the 3 and 4 years that I knew him, he became more and more withdrawn. I think he suffered from some sort of depression.
You were saying about him...
We call it melancholia in the Victorian days.
Absolutely right. You were saying about him being eminently British. I mean, he went to Marlborough and Cambridge and all that sort of
thing. He was eminently British. The music was eminently British, yes.
But I mean, he seems to be a product of the English middle class.
That's undoubtedly true, and I think that reflects very well in his music. I mean, what you see is what you get. It's erudite, it's cultured, and it's refined. I like it.
Was he a typical singer-songwriter of his period?
No. I have to say that the thing that sets him apart again is his implicit, innate Britishness. It's while everyone else on the island roster who was contemporary with himself, including myself, were having flirtations with American-based sounds. In the same way as Elton John was with his the first record, was it called, The Madman Across the Water or something like that?
Sky, yeah.
Yeah, all very American-based sounds. You know, the whole idea was to try and sound like the band, if you could possibly, all this kind of stuff. And he was just very quietly going his own way and producing very British sounds.
Shall we hear another track? This is from his second album. Performances, John?
Two, to my knowledge. One was a Christmas affair given by the Coventry Climax Apprentices. I suppose it was their Christmas ball. That really destroyed him, because I think they'd rather have listened to the Trogs or
Amen Corner or something.
That's right. So I think that was a major blow to his confidence. I remember him being depressed about that for days and days. And then he did another one at the festival hall supporting Sandy Denny. And
sounds a bit more like him.
It was a good place for him, but he was cripplingly nervous. I mean, he was distraught before the gigs. It was rather embarrassing, in fact, to see him. He was distinctly uncomfortable on stage. I mean, the music was fine, but he just didn't like being there at all.
So this is the reason that the man didn't play many more gigs, that it just was destroying him.
I get the impression that it was just costing him too much to go on the stage. It was just like no amount of applause or anything else would ever have paid him back the mental effort and energy that he had to expend.
Did this get worse as time went by? Because you say the man changed.
Unfortunately, it did. Yeah, he just slipped further away into himself and divorced himself from the mundane. Very sad, really. And it wasn't for lack of trying. I mean, all kinds of people tried to be friendly and went out of their way to be nice. But I mean, I suppose you'd see through that. You see, being very bright and intelligent. You go, yes, well, what's in it for you?
The image of the troubled artist, in a sense, and the confusion.
The classic case, bionic stuff. I mean, heroic stuff.
Do you think he could have been helped, that the end might not have happened as it did?
Ooh. It's very easy to look back and think that oneself, you look at your own behaviour, I look at mine and think, well, perhaps I should have done more. And I think everyone who knew him felt exactly the same way, because he's an immensely lovable man. And a great loss and stuff. But, no, I think he had his sights set, and that was that. I don't think there was no gainsaying the man. Once he decided on his course of action, he just took it.
Yes. He was prepared not to go on much longer, do you feel?
And I think he found the place was just not quite good enough for him, in all honesty. I mean, whereas a lot of people just harden themselves to the whole nonsense and say, well, all right, the world isn't exactly perfect, but I get on with it. I think the weight of responsibility and, social and I suppose in every other way, just overpowered him. He didn't enjoy life much.
Did he not try going places, being in other areas?
He certainly did. He went to Paris and spent a lot of time there. He went to the country. He came and lived with me in various locations. He just was distinctly unhappy in all of them. Just didn't enjoy. I think he just trusted the world. He didn't. He thought it had not quite lived up to his expectations.
Yes. He is now undergoing a revival or whatever of popularity. Do you think that there's anybody since him who has touched the sort of genius that he had?
There's no one covering that particular area, especially in the last 7 or 8 years. I mean, a certain coarsening of music in general has been apparent to me anyway. And the acoustic guitar, which was his medium, has fallen from favour. With the domain of the folk boom and all that sort of stuff, then it's more and more difficult for acoustic instrument players and people who are based around that to break through. But there is no one really who's doing that. Not that I know of. I mean, there may be someone just sort of lurking about.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Remarkable, the appeal of the man, because on the sleeve notes it says there that his parents still get letters from people from all the way around the world wanting to know about his inspirations, about the way he played his guitar. And I dare say it's going to be around for a few years yet as well.
I would imagine so.
John, thank you for talking to us today.